Hi. Hello, my friends. Hopefully my mic is working. Hello. This may be my last stream in China. We'll see. How's it going, everyone? Look where I'm at right now. I'm in a very beautiful spot. We are in a very beautiful mall right now in a place called Ukesong, which I think means 5 pine trees, I believe. But look at this. This is a mall. This is like Singapore-esque. People do not want to show up on video. They're like stopping. They're like, no, don't take a picture of me. What's really cool is that every once in a while, water comes down here from the top, just like the airport in Singapore. Anyway, I finally found my avocado drink again. Holy shit! I looked at so many different places. I finally found it. It's like an avocado flavored smoothie with like chia seeds and like popping oats at the bottom. Dude, it's so strange, but it's so delicious. Have you guys ever had boba before? Yeah, I enjoy boba, but this is different. This is a little bit different than boba. It's popping oats, so it's got kind of a firmer texture. But anyway, I wanted to have a more philosophical discussion today. As we walk around the mall. Here, let me show you another area. Look at this. So there's this, oh, here, I'll show you. There's this really long, what's it called? Escalator that goes all the way up here, and you come out here, and then I'll show you how long the escalator is. Okay, I'm gonna be very careful not to drop my thing. We're not gonna drop it because this goes down very far, okay? Oh my God, I'm actually scared. Wait, wait, let me go to the other side so it's easier to show. Okay. Very carefully. Very carefully. Anyways, it goes down into the abyss. The very colorful and luminescent abyss. Anyway. So I wanted to talk about systems. Systems. Because I saw something very interesting happen yesterday that I wanted to kind of talk about. I guess first I should give some cultural context. Yeah, that's very important. So there's something part of Chinese culture called jiwa, or chicken baby. I think I got the tones wrong. Jiwa. Yes. But anyways, it means chicken baby. And it's this kind of cultural tendency for parents to be a little bit overbearing when it comes to like raising their children, especially with the intense working culture in China, the expectation of success, and especially with the college entrance exam. There's so many expectations, there's so much competition. You know, you think about a country with 1.4 billion people, that's a lot of fucking people. So you gotta stand out. So what do? The parents, they have their children do a bunch of different extracurricular activities. And so it's quite interesting. It's like a good topic of debate, because when you compare this culture with like more Western ideas of raising children, they're very different. So some of the more extreme examples would be like having a child go to school, which schools here do run a little bit longer than like American schools, for example. So the child goes to school probably like, I would say 8 to 10 hours. And then they come home and then they have like piano practice, or like some sort of like, they do piano, or like a sport, or like an after school study session. And then on the weekends, they'll have like various different extracurricular activities. So from my personal experience, my nephew is he's Chinese. He's 10. No, I want to say he's 12. He's like 10 to 12 years old. But anyway, he is very much a jiwa. Okay, so here's basically the schedule, roughly. He wakes up probably, I would say, like 7 a.m. Between 7 and 8, he's going to school. He goes to school for 3 to 4 hours. Then he comes home and eats food, and he has a 3-hour break. And then he goes back to school for another 3 to 4 hours. And then he comes home again, and when he comes home again, he's got to do piano practice. And then after piano practice, he needs to do his studying. And if he doesn't study his... So this is a joke, okay? Well, it's a joke, kind of. It's kind of... Ooh. He gets hit over the head. It's a frequent thing that my aunt jokes about. Like, if you don't do your homework, I'm gonna hit you. Is that a real thing that happens? Absolutely. It's not as serious as you might think. Anyways, we'll quickly gloss over that. The ethical implication. We'll just gloss over that. That's a different discussion. So anyway, from when he wakes up until when he goes to bed, constant work, constant adults imposing their wishes on this child. I always ask my aunt, I'm like, doesn't he have time to play? Doesn't he have friends? Doesn't he, you know? And she's like, no, he doesn't have friends. This is his life. He needs to prepare. And that's what she says. He needs to prepare. He needs to be prepared for when he enters the workforce. So I think everybody is familiar with the 996 culture and working culture in China, which that is not as widespread now today as it was in the past. It does still exist. So for those who don't know, it's when you work from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. 6 days of the week. Now, that is a more stereotypical thing. It does happen a lot still. It's not like every worker works that way. There's plenty of people that don't work that schedule. However, that's kind of what people are preparing their kids for. So now that we have that cultural context, that they're preparing their children to be successful in a very competitive environment. Now I'll tell my story from yesterday. So yesterday I went to the gym, and at the gym, I'll walk and talk. I came in to see a very interesting sight. So there was like, I want to say an 8-year-old girl, and she was using like the adult machines to do like pulling exercises. So she was pulling these bands, and it was like full arm extended, like pull, and with the other arm pull, like with her head down and everything, and she was pulling like this. She was sobbing. She was like sobbing. She was complaining. She was like, I don't want to do this. My arms hurt. I don't want to do this. Standing next to her was a coach. One of the hotels, at first I thought it was her dad. It was actually a hotel coach. Like hotel provided coach. So he was coaching her like, okay, just one more set. And they were doing it for like 30. Keep in mind, this is an 8-year-old girl, okay? Sobbing. She's sobbing. She's saying, I don't want to do this. My arms hurt. I thought it was like some sort of punishment, maybe, at first. But then I don't think it was. I think it was part of this. Again, this is one situation which I don't know the full context of. But I did see her mom sitting over in the corner and doing work on her laptop and making sure with the coach that, you know, everything was done right, you know. And then here comes another family that comes in. It's a mom and 4 kids. She has her kids do the same type of exercises, like, and they are strange exercises. Like, she had her kids lay down on the floor, belly down, and like squeeze their ass. Like, I'm not joking, like literally squeeze. She's like, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And I was sitting there doing yoga, like, what is happening right now? But it was like very authoritarian-esque. So again, let's remember the cultural context. So again, I can't assume that these are not just one-off cases, although I am taking what I've seen from my own family and also what I know from the cultural context and using that to kind of explain what I saw yesterday. So that's what I think I did see yesterday, was part of that, because that's a normalized thing. I mean, the coach was like, he had done this probably for a bunch of different kids. It's not an uncommon thing. And so I guess that just kind of made me think about, because obviously for me, with the amount of freedom I grew up with, ooh, look at this. I'll yap as the water's going down. With the amount of freedom that I grew up with, I see that and I'm appalled, right? But I grew up in a different system. There's different systems. And there's different trade-offs you have to make to be a part of different systems. So that's the thing. When I was explaining the cultural context, I was explaining the system. This is how it works. This is a normal thing that you need to do for your children. You got to prepare your children to be successful members of society. And what trade-offs do you make? In my opinion, sacrificing one's humanity, perhaps. That's a little bit bold of a take, but that's my opinion. That's my very American opinion. They don't see it that way. You ask if you brought any Chinese person in there, looked at that site, they would say, yep, that's, we're teaching our children discipline and, to do hard things. Because if you had to, for example, work from 9 to 9, 6 days a week, it's objectively going to be something you don't want to do. Who wants to do that? No one. No one wants to do that. And so what's going to best prepare you to do that? By training. By training children young to do things they don't want to do. Even if they're crying through it, even if they hate it, even if they... So, on the reverse side, someone from China may look at the way that parenting practices are in America and say, Americans are so lazy. Like, they're not preparing their children at all. They're not preparing their children at all to be successful. That's probably what they say. I kind of agree with them, honestly. Well, I don't think either system is good. I don't think the very lax parenting method is good. And I also don't think the very authoritarian parenting method is good. But yeah, I was hoping to have like a discussion. I'd love to know other people's thoughts too. And of course, my Discord is always open for you to share your thoughts about this. Like the question I posed in my Discord. What are what systems are you a part of? And what trade-offs do you make to be a part of them? And are they worth it? That's what I want to know. I mean, if you consider China's history, you consider that only just a few decades ago, it was not the same as it is. They did not have malls like this. They did not have this insane amount of wealth and growth and prosperity and just, stability and, just a few decades ago, those things were all not guaranteed. They were unstable. And so you think about how this culture that was created of being efficient and being hardworking and everything, how that arose from times of need, and how it got people to where they are today. I mean, what's a better motivator than that? What's a better motivator than looking back at your parents and your grandparents and seeing how they had to basically, like, they had times where they went without food. They had times when they weren't sure about the situation, like what was going to happen. Like just a lot of instability. To now, when you can come to a beautiful mall like this, you can have whatever food you want to have. You can, you know, you have all the consumer luxuries that, you know, it's just baffling. So anyway, that was a very long yap. I'm not sure if anybody's interested, but it is definitely interesting to me. I think whenever you go to a foreign country and see something that shocks you, I think you shouldn't like impose your own biases on it. Oh my gosh, thank you for the follow. DDJJ, thank you so much for the follow. 谢谢. 谢谢. 我在北京。你好哦，不好意思，我看不懂中文，有一点看不懂，不好意思。Your English name is Jimmy. Oh, okay. 好的，知道了。Thank you for following. 你住在哪个城市？我现在在北京，在北京，那个五棵松的万达 High Streamer. Oh, you're in Sichuan. You're in Chengdu? No way. Dude, we were actually just barely in Chengdu. I love Chengdu. I loved Chengdu. No, that was actually my favorite spot that we've been to in China. I've been to a lot of different cities in China. Chengdu is my favorite. It's so green everywhere. It's the green everywhere. Like, wonderful climate, wonderful food. Oh, thank you for the follow. Zero, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Oh, thank you guys. Anyways, we're talking a little bit about jiwa. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Jiwa, the wenhua, like a chicken child. Yeah, I just shared a little bit of that story, but when me and Americans see some things like that, it's very different. It's different than how Americans raise their children. That doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that people have to do that in order to fit in with their own system. That's the best way that people know how to do it here. So when you think about other systems too, you can think about like, here, one sec. Think about like a family, for example. It doesn't just have to be a place where you live or a government or anything. It can also be like your family. What sacrifices do you make to be part of your family? Maybe for me, I sacrifice where I live. You know, I don't love where I live. And so, but I live there because my husband has a job in Utah, so that's why I live there. I make that sacrifice because it's worth it to have my husband. My Chinese pronunciation is very good. You understood it right away. Oh my god. 谢谢. 谢谢. You don't know how much that means. Thank you. Thank you. This place is so cool. This place is so fun. Okay, so if you're ever in China, if you're a foreigner, if you're ever in China, you need to look for a wanda. I'm telling you, it's called wanda. You can literally look it up by the English name, wanda. If you find a wanda, you're gonna have a good time. If you look it up, you're gonna have a good time. I mean, they're not all this nice. They're not all this beautiful, but this one's especially nice. But they're all really nice. So, Wanda, yeah, 对. Yeah, Wanda. Look at this. Look at this bistro over here. It's so... I mean, okay, so granted, so just so you know, it probably looks like it, but obviously the food here is very expensive. Wanda. 对, Wanda. So the food here is very expensive. The clothes here are very expensive. This is like a luxury, Chinese luxury mall. So keep that in mind. There's a subway station right outside of here. You take the subway, and then you have 1 kilometer, 1公里, of like little stores and restaurants and stuff. That stuff is not as expensive. That's the cheap stuff. That's the stuff where you want to actually eat. If you want like a luxury, expensive meal that you can eat here, but if you want something reasonably priced, go to the subway station. On the way to the subway station, there's plenty of stuff. Okay, look at this. Jimmy, no, I'm not in the airport. I'm in the Beijing, Beijing Wukaisong, Wanda. That's where I'm at. It looks like an airport, doesn't it? It looks like the Singapore airport. A lot of things in China, like I was mentioning earlier, that building in Chongqing was designed by the same architect in Marina Bay Sands of Singapore. So anyway, yeah, I don't usually film IRL streams. Usually I do video games and we talk about philosophy. Do you like philosophy? You know, if philosophy, as far as Chinese philosophy goes, I did read, what's his name? Zhuangzi. I read Zhuangzi. The Taoist philosopher. That's why I read that. It was good. I liked it. It's like Singapore, the airport. I know. It literally is, isn't it? It looks a lot like. It was probably inspired, especially as far as the fountain goes. That was probably very inspired by Singapore. But yeah. So I think it's important to be open-minded when you see things that are kind of shocking to you or kind of different. It doesn't always mean that it's wrong. I mean, was it upsetting for me to see that child crying? Absolutely. And did I come back and tell my husband, we are never going to do that with our kids? Yes, I did. But I have to put it all in my mind, like, that's not the way they do things here. You can't just have a lax parenting style where you just let your kids do whatever. They have to have like a variety of skills to stand out. Do I come to China often? I do, yes. Probably like once a year, almost. So for the past 3 years, I've been coming once a year. Who is Zhuangzi? So Zhuangzi is a really old Chinese philosopher, Taoist, Taojiao, kind of like Lao Tzu, but this is the other one. There's the Tao Te Ching, and then there's this one, the Zhuangzi. I hope I'm remembering that right. But if you've heard of like the butterfly dream, you know, the philosopher that dreams, he goes to bed one night and he dreams he was a butterfly. and he's flying around as a butterfly, and then he wakes up and he's a human again. And he thinks, wait, am I now a butterfly dreaming I'm a human? Or, you know, he thinks about, he considers like our dreams a different form of reality, which I think is interesting. Interesting philosophical question to ponder. We're right next to Starbucks. Shinbox. That's Chinese Starbucks. Oh, you know Lao Tzu, Kongzi? Oh, I haven't read any Kongzi yet. I need to. You know, Jimmy, some people say Lao Tzu was one person. Some people say he was many people. What do you think? Do you think he was one person or he was many different people? It's hard to know. I mean, because it was so long ago. People like, you know, people quote him, but it's hard to tell if it was just one person or multiple different philosophers that went under the same name. Does it matter? I don't know if it really matters. I don't know if it really matters. But anyway, I've really enjoyed my time here in China. I've really loved it. But I am ready to go home. I want to go home. We've been here for 3 weeks, so I'm ready. Oh my God, Hero, hello. Hi, Hero. Hi, Sundry. Oh my gosh, hello, my friends. Look where I am. Look where I am, dude. Look. I'm in this really cool mall. Okay, look at this. Look at this. Look at this escalator that like goes. I'm afraid to drop my phone. Okay, I better not drop it. The escalator goes all the way down there. And then over here is like a fountain. But we've been talking about sacrifices and systems. And I've been talking about how it's so amazing in the past few decades. China has gone from the growth they've experienced is absolutely amazing. Jimmy said, of course you could also say that it's a spirit or a culture, and that's fine. But in my perception, he truly is a separate individual. Oh, I see. So just one separate, yeah. And that's the thing. Jimmy, I've talked with other people about Taoism and Buddhism and Hinduism. And you don't have to listen to everything that Lao Tzu says in order to be a Taoist. You can read his philosophy. You can read his, you can read the Tao Te Ching, but that's not everything Taoism is. A lot of it also has to do with, your own personal experience and what you think. Just like, well, I don't know personally for Buddhists, but say hi to the child. Oh no, did the child? Was there a child that said hi to me? Oh no, Zero. I missed them. I'm sorry. Shit. It's so hard to pay attention when I'm streaming. I promise you I say hi to children all the time. I promise. But sometimes I look very mean because I don't smile very often. Oh no, Sundra. Wait, that's good though. Sundra, that's good. Damn. It's best if we don't know your true power level. What are you hiding from us, Sundry? Let me think about what else I was thinking about. Oh, Zero's the same. Zero's the same. Zero, if you do it again, you can see different options. I guess Zero is also very powerful. Congratulations. Anyway, so my question still stands. What sacrifices are you making? And are they worth it? It's number one Hero Glazer. Well, Hero deserves it. Hero deserves to have a glazer. at all times. Hero is a special person. If I could figure out how to do the button on my phone to promote Hero, I would. But unfortunately, mobile version, I can't possibly. But everyone go follow Hero. Okay, let's see what Jimmy said. Jimmy said, okay. He said, you don't have to be so polite. You could be more direct with me. You don't mind, because I believe it's a normal discussion. It's perfectly normal for everyone to have a different perception. You agree with my point about him being a convergence of many people's thoughts. Jimmy, you've uncovered something about my personality. You know what it is? My personality? I'm a people pleaser. You could convince me of anything. If I believe something and it's like somebody says something completely different, I'll be like, yeah, you're right. I'll be like, yeah, I think you're right. And then later I'll come back. Later I'll think about it more, and I'll be like, wait, no, I don't agree with that. I'm working on it. I'm just not a very confrontational person. But also I feel like I respect everybody's opinion, and I think everybody has something to share. And so, maybe you know things that I don't, That's usually the mindset I have, is like, maybe you know things that I don't. And so I'm just assuming that sometimes it feels like no matter how much knowledge I've acquired in my life, it's never enough. I still don't know enough. I still have to know more. Have I had my lunch? Not yet. I had a really big breakfast. My aunt, my ayi, she said, so every day she says, 你应该早餐吃得饱，中饭不管饭。She says 中饭不管饭, which means we will not be eating lunch. You need to eat breakfast, and you don't even need to eat breakfast. Eat it full. When you say 我吃饱了, that means I ate full, like I'm stuffed. So that's what I did today. I ate full. Oh shit, sorry. I was showing you there we go. Dinner? Yes, I will. Zero, I will have dinner soon, yes. We're gonna look for a place to eat here probably. I just want to have a quick little stream today, not too long. There's some things, here's another thing. There's some things that I have a really strong opinion about, and other things I don't care. If I have a strong opinion about something, then I'll usually probably argue with you. But for most things, I don't care. I don't know. It's interesting. As I was thinking about systems, I'm probably the most free from systems that a person can be, which I'm very glad about. I'm very lucky. Because I live in America, like many people, I get to not be so patriotic, Like I'm not very patriotic about my own country. I'm like, whatever. Currently, I'm not working, so I don't have the system of a job. Currently, my family doesn't put too many expectations on me, so I don't have that either. I don't have a church or a belief system, so that also is not a system. And so, like, I've just like broken away from every single system that's ever been people have tried to impose on me. I grew up in a church. I left the church. I grew up caring about my country and don't have that anymore. I've had many jobs, many different jobs, like throughout my teenage years and adult years. I also left that as well. But the question is, I guess, like, why are systems so important? Why are these kind of systems so important? Because I think they are important. I think that doing things my way, being like independent from everything, like I don't need anybody else. I don't need anybody else. That's probably not a good way to live. Let's not forget, there are some systems I do very much benefit off of. Capitalism and my family. So I need to be grateful for that. I need to be grateful for the amount of opportunities that I have at my feet. Because not everybody gets to have as much choice. And some people would prefer to be in a system. Jimmy said, I don't have patriotic sentiment either. I believe the current achievements are attained through the efforts of industry and individuals. Oh, interesting. Yeah. That's interesting. And that's the thing, like, sometimes I like to say, oh yeah, I'm American, so that means I'm independent. That's not the case for every American. So I need to like pull away from, certain stereotypes and just say, this is the case for me. It might not be the case for other people, but. So the question is, what do you lose when you break away from a system? So in the case of raising your children in a very lax system in the West versus jiwa, so like, the chicken baby culture where it's very strict and very, that produces a child that's going to probably be a very hardworking individual, but probably also mentally, I don't know, unwell, probably depressed. Well, again, I don't know. I'm not. But also, if you are too lax with your child, then you're not setting them up for success because I feel like there needs to be a certain thing imparted upon children, like life is hard. You can't just lead children to believe that life is easy and it will always be easy. You've got to teach your children that life is hard. Jimmy said, I rarely see Americans express their true opinions. Nowadays, I feel like Americans are extremely polite towards everyone and everything, and it's really impossible to know what they truly think. I feel like that sometimes too. Or they just kind of say whatever everybody else is saying. They just kind of say, humans do that. I mean, we are social creatures, so we want to fit in with the system, with the community. The community is also a system, right? You want to be a part of your community. You want to be accepted by other people. So how do you do that? You sacrifice your own like internal personality and humanity, right? You sacrifice some of that, some of your individuality to be part of the system. Some people like making that trade-off. You also said that they're unwilling to say that something tastes bad instead of saying, instead saying not bad. Yep. That's one thing I love. That's one thing I love about Chinese culture is, and again, this is a stereotype, so not everyone, but my aunt is Chinese. If somebody serves her food and she doesn't like it, she'll tell them. She'll tell the waiter, she's like, yeah, I don't like this food. It's too salty. She's like, you made it too salty. She's like, you made it too salty, go make it again. I can't even imagine doing that in America. I mean, I guess you could. You can do that. It's not like you can't. But, yeah. So, he said, the reason is that the education I received since childhood emphasized that Americans speak very directly and don't beat around the bush. Oh, that's interesting. Therefore, the way we communicate here now is the direct style of expression that was popularized when we were young. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because I don't feel like Americans have ever been direct. No, I feel like they've always been passive-aggressive, at least in my family. My family is very passive-aggressive. My husband has a hard time with it, actually. It was one of the biggest things that we used to fight about, because my husband is Chinese. 我的丈夫是中国人. My husband's Chinese. So he's used to people telling each other to their face what they think. I'm used to people saying things in very indirect ways and not actually saying what they actually think. Being very passive-aggressive. That's what I'm used to. My dad is like the expert in passive-aggressive. Oh my God. When I played this game, it was clearly made terribly, so bad that I couldn't be played properly. Yet, in the English comment sections, everyone actually said the game was okay. Oh, that's it. That's interesting. Yeah, we do have a hard time saying something's bad. Yeah. Even I do that sometimes too. Yeah, I'm trying to let go of my people-pleasing tendencies, but it's hard. It's hard when you grow up that way. If that's how your parents act, you know. Zero asked, how did you meet your husband? Yes, at university. So, okay, I kind of lied. Well, no, I didn't lie. It's complicated. Because when I say, 我的丈夫是中国人, I always say that to people so they understand. Because there isn't a word for Chinese American. Well, there probably is. But it's not as, it's not as straightforward, you know? It's just easier to say, my husband's Chinese. But he's Chinese American. He was born in America. But his parents are Chinese. I should have clarified that. But when you're here in China, you just tell, I don't know. It's funny because, he goes to security and people don't believe that he's an American. They're like, we went through one of the security checks in Beijing, in Tiananmen Square. There's police in a lot of different places, and they check your huzhao. And so you bring out your passport, your huzhao. And I pulled out two passports with my husband behind me. And the policeman, he was like, 他也是外国人吗? And I heard him say that. I was like, 对, 他也是外国人. He was so confused. So, oh shit, Jimmy, I'm so sorry. Jimmy, I need to add you as I need to give you a role first. I don't know why my Discord is set up that way. I'm gonna fix it when I get back. For some reason, my Discord, when you first join it, you can't do anything. I have to add you manually. So annoying. I'm sorry. I will do it when I'm done streaming. I'll add you, and then you can type and share things, as many things as your heart's content. But so anyway, should I go downstairs? Thing is, this is the coolest area in the mall. So I mean, there's other kind of interesting stuff, but not really. But I think I might actually be finishing up my stream soon. Yeah, I don't want to take too much of Well, I've run out of things to talk about. Usually I have things to talk about. Because otherwise I'll just be here rambling along. So, but yeah, I don't know if I'll stream again tomorrow. I might. Tomorrow we're going to Gugong, the Forbidden City, Gugong. Classic. That's a classic Beijing destination. Apparently, okay. Apparently there's a place in Gugong that hasn't been open for 100 years. There's a garden in Gugong that just barely opened that hasn't been open for 100 years. So we're gonna try and see that. It's got some cool boulders. In Beijing, they've got these really cool boulders that have got holes in them. I'll have to show you, but they've got a lot of holes in them, and that makes them special. But yeah. So if this is my last stream, then I hope everyone has a fantastic day. I will for sure return on Tuesday or Wednesday. Probably Tuesday, probably Wednesday, I'm not sure. Because I'm traveling back on Monday. On Monday I'm traveling back. Yeah, Tuesday's a good day to come back, I think so. But, and a maybe for